Basically what happened is she became loose in her wheelchair. Her wheelchair was not properly restrained. It moved around. Her seatbelt was not properly secured, and it allowed her to move around in the chair and loosen the straps on her chair. She requires a special needs chair to keep her supported and to keep her head and everything stable. Once all that happened, she got her head too far back, which closed off her airway. It was not a medical episode, but once she got her head so far back, being she's cerebral palsy and low tone in her neck, she couldn't correct herself. So all they had to do was pick her head up, and even at that, it was 4 minutes before the aide turned around for the first time to look at her.
And noticed that something was wrong.
And noticed something was wrong. And you basically have 8 minutes without oxygen before hypoxia starts to set in.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we've learned this.
Yeah.
So if they just taken her out of her chair and laid her down and started CPR, and we would have gained that time frame for the EMS to get there.
Well, and just even having a little bit of training, let me ask you this, how would a little bit of CPR training have made a difference in knowing that maybe her airway, her circumstance just required some repositioning? How would that have made a difference?
That's part of CPR. It's part of positioning, and part of, when you do CPR on someone, the first thing you do is you lay them flat on the ground. You make sure their neck and everything is and their airway is open. You look down their throat and look in their mouth, look down their throat to make sure there's no obstructions. That's all part of CPR. I am actually a state certified school bus inspector, and as such, working in a garage, I have to be CPR certified. So it only makes sense that drivers and aides, especially for ESC buses where you have special needs kids, they should be CPR and first aid trained. And even with that, anyone can panic, and that's part of what happened. The driver's aide made several statements that she didn't know what to do, she didn't know if she should touch her, but that's what she's there for. She's an aide. She's supposed to help her when she needs help.
Just some baseline knowledge on some level would have made a big difference.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
If there had been CPR training for every bus driver and every bus assistant in 2018, what do you think would be different here today?
We wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be talking today, and my daughter would still be alive. The other portion of this, we are very thankful for the Department of Education, Senator Stargill's staff, and everyone that's put together this ruling today for the CPR and the first aid training. But the radio systems are key also. Anyone can panic, and if they can just hit a button or key up a mic and call for emergency services, and with a GPS system that'll track them and know right where they're at. Those are minutes. There were 4 cameras aboard this bus. One of them captured an ambulance passing by minutes before this occurred, so they were in the area. If they had been able to call EMS instead of calling through dispatch, would push them on standby 4 or 5 different times, even after she told them she had an emergency. These are the things that led to my child's death. But even going back to the first aid, if they had taken her out of a chair, laid her down, opened her airway, and even tried to do compressions until EMS got there, it would have we wouldn't be here today.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And again, your daughter with special needs, you mentioned cerebral palsy.
Cerebral palsy, yes.
But it wasn't a medical episode. She just had special needs, and
yes.
The way that she was positioned.
Her chair, she had a special chair to position her. She had a special headrest, okay? She had a special harness that kept her in line with that. That all was not secured properly, which caused her to move around. And plus the seat belt that they put on to secure the chair into the bus was also falling down.
Who puts her in there?
The assistant. The assistant and the driver are responsible for securing her in that bus.
Mm-hmm. So there was a couple things really that went wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
But you're kind of one step at a time, you're trying to see a difference be made. And today we reached one step. Before I get to today, which is good news.
Yes, absolutely.
You're going to save other children.
Yes. Yes.
But before I ask you about today, can you kind of put into words as a parent how much you miss your daughter?
I said every minute of the day. Every single minute of the day. Grief comes in many stages. Some days it's not so bad. And other days it's, like I tell everyone, it's just like standing in a riptide. You know, you're on your feet and you're doing fine, and then the emotions hit you and you're struggling for air. And that's the only way I can describe it. I see a butterfly fly by, I think about her. You know, she used to do equine therapy as part of her therapy for cerebral palsy. I see a horse, you know, all these things just trigger an ocean of emotions. I mean, she was a kid that, you know, surviving 57 different surgeries, she just smiled every day. I mean, you could have the worst day possible, and you come home and she's just got this big smile on her face, and your problems just melt away to nothing. You know, your problems are this big at that point. You know, she was that kid. I mean, she was my whole life. It was a void that will never ever be filled, ever. I miss her every minute.
David, how did you feel sharing your story today in front of the State Board of Education?
Grateful. Grateful they were willing to listen. Grateful that they were willing to take the steps to secure other children so other families don't have to deal with what we have had to deal with. As I said in there, no family should ever have to make the decision to take their child off of life support. And they shouldn't have to sit there and hold their hand while they take their last breath. And that's what this fight is all about. That's why we want to change. That's why we want her to be proud of us. We want her to look down and be proud and know that we did all this for her. So, sorry.
No, you're fine. The board heard you. They listened.
Yeah, they did. They were very receptive, very nice. We're looking forward to continuing this. We're looking forward to going to Tallahassee.
Now, what are you going to, so today we accomplished step one, CPR
Yes.
training. And now, did they say when that training has to be done? Is it by next school year or?
In the notice that we received, it states 2020.
Okay, so
So-
they've got time to implement the training, realistic time.
Yes.
And now, you're not done now. What else do you want to see and why are you going to Tallahassee?
We want them to put it in writing, a rule or amendment of the radio systems. Something that bothers me, I just recertified my state certification for school bus inspection. In these categories, they have everything you inspect on a school bus, every piece of it. There's 3 categories. It's either check it, it's okay, exit, it needs a repair, or oh, it's out of service and nobody can use it. Radio systems, under radio systems, it states that if the radio system is out of the reach of the driver, the bus is out of service. If the radio does not transmit, it's a no to repair. So we want that changed also. There needs to be you cannot rely on bus drivers and assistants to use their own cell phone, to have a good cell phone battery, to have a good cell phone signal.
They have to look down at the phone.
And to have to look, yeah, you can't have a driver looking at a phone.
No. So basically, you want the radio system to give a bus driver a direct connect to a 911 dispatcher.
Yes, yes. There are systems out there in Polk County, and speaking with Ron Davis, Director of Transportation for Polk County, he assured us that they have approved radio systems for their district that will have, it's like a systems universal channel. They can switch to a channel, they can call out, it goes to fire, EMS, police, local sheriff's departments. Everybody gets a call. It's all driven on GPS, so they know where they're at. And their response times would have been way more than 20 minutes. Way less than 20 minutes, sorry, way less than 20 minutes. So that's...
So those are the 2 things that you feel like really would have saved your daughter, and that's why you're fighting for those 2 things.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because anybody can panic, you know. It's heart-wrenching to know that a driver and the assistant both didn't respond correctly. But any one person can panic and not deal with an emergency situation. But if they can call, pick up a mic or push a button and go, I got to have help now. You know, these are the steps that need to be taken to save lives, you know. And then, unfortunately, we had a tragic shooting down south. And what's to say this doesn't happen on a school bus? You have seconds to call for help. You can't call a dispatcher and have them go, okay, where are you at, you know, you can't have that. You have seconds. And that's what this radio system is about.
So the dispatcher that they can call is somebody with the school, right? Like currently?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go through the dispatch center, the bus driver, and they put them on standby 5 different times, even after
In your instance, yeah.
Yes.